Ayo. Log 23.0. Time is 12:57 a.m. Saturday, March 27th, 2021. GMT. I'm not exactly sure when I think our time zone changes like the end of the month, which is oddly enough, like actually a Wednesday, right? Yeah. Which I guess is consistent. I guess if that's the way it is out here, it always changes at the end of the month. At least it's always the same day. I mean, same date. But I'm trying to remember. In the US, it usually changes. Like again, I know around Halloween is always Halloween. Is it always the 31st? No, it's always just that Sunday. It's not the same date every year. It's like I get it. It changes twice a year, but it's not the same date. But always, anyways. Anywho, right? My calendars will be back like aligned as of mid next week, not Monday, but next week, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. And then that said, actually, I'm not sure what does then become BST instead of GMT. I don't know. This time zone stuff never has mattered more to me in my life than it has like lately. Like last year I've been out here. But that said, what to say about this week? So actually coming into this, before this, I was like, damn, I really got nothing to say. I don't know what I want to say. But I guess I'll pick up on the thread I left off last week, which was, kind of being a coach, right? And this week, at least the end of the week, I really was one to the new CSM, I feel like, but I've yet to be really for, the CSMS I've had here the longest, in the ways I feel that she needs it the most, right? Or in any ways, to be honest. I've like coached her, granted, in like various kind of casual ways, sure, maybe, but really not to the degree that A, she deserves, B, she needs, C, I'd like to. And she's been good about, doing what she can without me kind of coaching her as I should. But I want that to change, right? I mean, that was something I like really underscored this time last week about being a coach. And this week, I realized like beginning of the week, it was a real perfect opportunity, honestly, to kind of live up to like what I was even talking about like this time last week in the early part of this week with, she was doing this presentation on her first pilot, for instance, right? And all other pilots had been handled by me. Was the first one we had her kind of run point on. Granted, I was sure to like join those calls with her and, oversee a little bit, but, largely her responsibility, her show to run, and, on her to kind of see through. Ultimately, in the 11th hour, she did pull through with getting them to the numbers they really need to convert. What we typically say pre-pilot is, we'll be able to automate 10 to 20% of your tickets within the pilot, within the frame of the time of the pilot, which is typically like 4 to 6 weeks or so. Sometimes we've had to extend, sometimes it, but basically what we pitch is 4 to 6 weeks pilot, and we'll get you to 10 to 20% automation, public automation. And with less than like a week to go in the pilot, she was at like 8, sitting at 8%, but that wasn't necessarily her fault so much, because the use case that we came in and prioritized, the ground shifted from under her. Like there was a order status was what we started with and really always do. And when they started, like order status was like about 16% of their tickets. Within a week or two of going live with that use case, or within the week, like the week that we went live with that use case, all of a sudden, and they were getting a lot less order status tickets. And it was just sitting at like 8% for like a couple of weeks around order status. And we really needed to not pivot, but like move on to the next use case to get us to the numbers necessary, And in the last 4 days before the pilot, we managed to get it from like 8% to what was it ultimately, like 35-40%. So huge spike, like, wow, amazing. Wish it could have been that way, for longer than 4 days before the pilot, 4 days leading up to the pilot. But so be it. At least there's that, up into the right graph to show, and not just one spike one day up and to the right, but like, four string together 4 days to show stability, and you can expect to see this continue kind of thing. But prior to those 4 days, it was very much scraping the bottom of the graph at like 8%. So, but that said, that all worked out. So she pulled through on that front. But really, what it came down to was ultimately the pilot presentation, the review, the proposal. Not so much the proposal, because they've already signed a contract in this case, where with language of like to opt out, right? They have to opt out at the end of the pilot, or else kind of continue, right? And because they were a unique customer in the sense that they're very lax, right? In the pilot, the point of contact was, which for better or worse, because I feel S is a little lax also, the customer was as well. And they were, neither the customer nor S were really raising alarms about us being only at 8% until, myself and CEO, CTO kind of pressed a little bit on it. And then, we managed to get the customer to provide us the templates we needed to start automating more. That led to like the 40% for the last 4 days. So all's well that ends well on that front, but there was like a very lax on both sides of the fence, right? And the other thing unique about that customer is they have no native reporting in Zendesk. So they don't have a license level on Zendesk to give them any kind of like way for us to report on what we're doing for them. And every time, I feel like I've talked about analytics countless times on these things, but here's another perfect example of why it's so critical that we have our own flexible analytics so that in our platform. For examples like this, where we have a Zendesk customer, granted, and we're really good with being able to build out Zendesk reporting. But in this case, they don't have the level of Zendesk license they need for us to build out that kind of custom reporting. So they don't even have any visibility really into what we're doing, right? Or much visibility to their own tickets, to be quite frank. So we had to kind of fast track this, analytics in our own platform solution, like beta example, using their data so that we could have something to show at the review that isn't just like Google Sheets and manually input numbers, which aren't going to sell anyone. Even if the numbers are absolutely accurate, if somebody's just looking at numbers that are sourced from a Google Sheet, it's always kind of doesn't really hold the weight or have the trust in the numbers that just snapshotting a graph does. Even if you can just as well manipulate the graph, sure, especially if the analytics are on our side and you don't have any way in Zendesk to validate, but it just makes a big difference in perception and kind of confidence in what we're showing, saying. Numbers were the numbers, but yeah, so anyways, so kind of punted it to her to work with kind of the CTO, one of our engineers, to get all the data uploaded into this analytics, which isn't baked into our platform yet. So it is a little bit manual process of like uploading the data into that platform, and then it's static, right? It's not continuously pulling in numbers, but do that the day before the review, which she did. And Mondays I suck just in general, and I know the CTO asked me, hey, you want to sync with me and S on the numbers? I wasn't at that point. It was a little bit later on a Monday, and for some reason I forget what I was doing, but I didn't see the message until like a little bit later, and then I just ignored it. I'm like, nope, that's for her and him to not necessarily for him, it's not on him, right? But it's for her to drive and do, and I'm not going to add any value. And I already know how to do the report once the numbers are in. Like, no, and it's Monday, and and I saw this a little bit later. You got yeah already, right? So um, never mind that. But that said, come the next day, and I was even thinking this going into it, like maybe I should do a run through with her on the presentation, give her an opportunity to kind of practice on me with me. But I didn't because I didn't have time, man. This is the thing too, is killing me, and this is my takeaway as well. It's like, yeah, I want to be a coach, sure, but I don't even have the time to coach, man. Like, and when I say that, like maybe I'm abdicating the responsibility a little bit because sure, I guess you can always make time kind of thing. And I make a lot of time for this job already as it is, and it's uh, you know, I guess I can't say make it as excuses if I don't have time, but like, but um, but it really felt like I didn't that day, dude. It really did not. That day, I know I felt especially swamped, and the day before, I'm just not feeling well as I do every damn Monday. But I also knew that yeah, we also I think felt pretty good about the pilot. I didn't feel like it was one we were going to lose. I felt like it was a good opportunity for her to kind of go for it, right? See what she pulled through with too, without me micromanaging. And then given that I felt confident that ultimately they would convert, and that also that of course I'll be on the call as well, to help fill in, and if I feel like she's floundering. um and then on top of that, what else was there? um and it's an opt out language in the contract. It's not like it's just all we really got to get them to say is okay, or okay, we're not going to opt out, right? So it felt like low risk, right? And I was overwhelmed, um, and I really, really want to see how she would do it without me nitpicking, and upfront, and overdoing it with like practice that may not be necessary. I love to see her do hella well, and we can just fine tune instead of dig in on major improvements, or what not to do next time, or what to do better next time. But yeah, so all that said, right? I did have her obviously share with me the presentation before, and here again, this is one of her weaknesses, is like her aesthetic. Right? I don't even know if that's how you refer to it, but presentation skills are very weak, both in terms of what she puts together, and presenting on it, right? Like her presentation skills just like point blank need work. Um, and But she did a presentation, and kind of here again, presentation skills need work, right? We could have done more around the slides, sure. And the way she presents on this stuff, it could be better, and with more at bats I think would get better. um and but at the same time, I can't rely on just more at bats done the same way for her to get better, right? I have to work with her on that a little bit. But ultimately, all's well that ends well, like they're converting, right? So this is a long talk about something that at the end of the day, to be quite frank, like nothing went wrong, right? um but the reason it's kind of fresh in my head is because I was thinking about kind of coaching just this last week, and how I would like to do that for those in my life, like certain people in my life did for me. And I definitely didn't this week when there was a real opportunity to, right? How much of an opportunity there really was to, given like how fucking overwhelmed I was, I don't really know. At the time, it felt like I had no time to. Now, looking back, I think, I could always have made time, sure, but whatever, right? But the reason I raised it also is because in the exec meeting we had earlier today, like, the other exec raised it that, she needs help coaching kind of thing. And it hit a sore spot for, so she needs coaching, but I'm just talking about how I want to be a good coach, right? It's like, like, uh what a timely like sore spot to hit with me, right? um and like I'm not defensive or anything about it. He's absolutely right, right? But at the same time, like I just need to get away from like this player coach, trying to be a player coach and just like really be able to be a coach. And that's what's in flight, right? So that was a big key point this week, is going over transition plans for all these accounts. Which of those accounts I'll be transferring to T, which of those accounts I'll be transferring to S, which of those accounts S will be transferring to T, and nobody's transferring shit to me, right? So it's all going away from me, right? And then between them, from me to them, or from S to T, right? Um, and which is great, because right now I have like 26, 27 accounts in my name. S has 13, and T, I mean, has 0 to 1. I think 1 is officially now in her name, right? And at the end of all this transition, I should be down to like 14. I think they'll be both at like 13 each. And ideally, I'd like to get myself down to like 10 and both of them at 15, right? Maybe before the end of the quarter kind of thing. And we'll see. Obviously, I hope to have more customers too. Those numbers should get bigger. But what I'd like to do is ultimately just have like 10 accounts, have both of them have 15. I don't want them to ever have either of them ever have more than 20. I never want to have more than 15 again, right? And that's like the limit I'm gonna put on us as a team, and kind of explain, to the rest of the exec team too. And as we grow, or as they approach 20, or as I approach 15, we need to make plans to hire another CSM, because we are a high touch model. There's no two ways about it. And I think we'll continue to be, and almost regardless of the size of the customer, to be honest, right? So that said, transition plans, getting these kind of getting myself down from 26 to 15, or down 26 to 10, then I can really focus on pilots. I don't know that I would have like S take another pilot, and this is the question. This is something I'm actually wrangling with, and maybe I'll speak it aloud and see how I feel, how it sounds. But there is something to be said about when somebody's playing to somebody's strengths. So if I feel like, for instance, her strengths aren't like implementation related, do I try and build her up on implementation by having her do more implementations and try and strengthen her there? Or do I say, okay, implementations really aren't your strength, but you seem to be good with like chasing renewals and stuff, and maybe we orient you more as like a account manager, renewals manager, right? And we have been practicing a lot, her and I. And by practice, I mean just doing, right? Like order forms together, right? So I trust her to put together an order form, and kind of send it out, chase it down, that sort of thing. And maybe that's one way to look at it is, look, just acknowledge that some people not kind of implementation oriented, and I didn't feel that I was either. I guess that's the flip side of it in a sec, but maybe saying, okay, I have a team, and this team, you're good at this, you're good at that, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, right? But then think about it like basketball players, right? Like American basketball players versus European basketball players. American basketball player, you get a big guy, right? Oh, he's a center, right? You put him as a center and he's a center, but then the guy can't fucking shoot, right? Has no jump shot, right? Whereas the European system, they kind of train them all around, and then you have big guys like fucking Dirk Nowitzki that can, shoot with finesse, right? No problem, right? Or even like, so let me throw out some Turkish name, Mehmet Okur, like that guy could shoot, right? But he's a center at the same time too. So that guy could shoot three, right? But yeah, so there's a question mark there. And I think if I had more time to coach, I'd be happy actually to have her do more pilots, because I could coach her on them, and be involved with them with her, and coach her up, and kind of get to a point where I feel confident having her eventually kind of run a pilot all herself. Yeah, I mean, but as I'm getting more and more overwhelmed, right, I think really my strategy right now, at least, is to take the 26 accounts I have and distribute them between the two of them, and get myself down to 10, ideally, the 10 like key accounts, and then focus on pilots. So I'll focus on the pilots, get the pilots, get them in good places, and then pass them on to one or the other, right? Each and every time, and get that pilot process really running smoothly, right? Um, and maybe actually, ideally, is you know, ideally get like an IM oriented hire to kind of run the pilots, and have S, just be, post pilot, post implementation, CSM through to renewal and, beyond, sort of thing. Similarly, with T. Now with T, I feel like not this juncture, obviously, but I feel like she's got the not temperament, the organization skills to run a pilot, but we'll see. Maybe too early to tell. But here again, I think given how kind of we are still a small company and how much every pilot still matters, we've been very fortunate to have converted it, what is it now? 13 of 14, 12 of 13, 13 of 14 pilots in the last year. I'm very fortunate. But if we lose just one, it hurts, man. It hurts the sales team, right? Badly. Hurts us because we put this work in and led to nothing. And it's just like a burnt opportunity, but and I think at our stage, I should honestly and take ownership of them, right? And ownership doesn't mean I have to necessarily run it all on my own. Like I can actually have her do it, but I wouldn't have her just do it alone. We're not there yet, and I don't know that we'll ever get there with her. You know, but yeah, it's more than we think about, to be honest. But I definitely want to do more coaching with her because she's very coachable. Like to her credit, like very coachable. And but I haven't haven't really had a chance to like develop her around even just simply like speaking, and she's just junior, and I think it's just a confidence thing maybe above all else, because she knows what she's talking about, right? But it doesn't inspire confidence with the customer, I feel like. She has just come through as junior. And I remember myself too, man, when I was first in sales, I was such a joke, dude. Like every call, I remember first sales gig, right? Hi, this is Bora, blah, 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 blah. Like I have like a script where I just like, da, 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 da. And then the person's like, I can't talk right now, like but it was just a joke. Hi, this is Bora. I was so bad, bro. Um, and part of the thing too is with this kind of coaching, right? I think there's kinds of coaching, like functional kind of coaching, which is, I don't know if this is the right phrase for it. I'm sure there's phrases out there for it. I just maybe read a book about it and get the right words for this. But something like what I was doing today with T, which is just showing her how to build the flow, no problemo, like that's very easy for me. I think I actually enjoy it, that kind of showing them how, and now they know how, and explaining what I'm showing them, not just say, do this, then do that, but okay, this and that represents this. And that's why, and then you got to pass that input, through to here. And this input, it represents, kind of this, that, right? So that kind of like show and tell type teaching, functional teaching, I enjoy. And I actually enjoy receiving as well. Like my CTO did it for me early days too, and was very patient with me. And I feel like I'm just kind of paying it forward to T. And I never really did that much of that for S. I don't know how it didn't happen, right? But I never did much of that, like that top to bottom, how to build a flow with her. There's occasional this or that, right? But yeah. But there's that type of coaching I think, enjoy and good at, and no problem there. Then there's like the role, right? What does the role entail? Like teaching them about like the role, the CSM. Here, I don't feel like I need to do that with either of them anymore, but I do feel I had to with S to some degree early days, given that she'd never been a CSM before. And I even like paid for her to take classes so she could kind of learn about, the role and like, CSM training kind of courses. I think she was grateful for that. And I don't know if it really paid any dividends, but it felt like something I had wanted to do for her, having never been a CSM before. for her to see or hear or understand, from others what being a CSM is all about, right? Even just the fucking lingo, the concepts, or be in a class with other CSMs and hear what questions they ask and understand how we're a little bit different than other CSM orgs, for better or worse. And just understand your profession you're now in, sort of thing, but better. No problem there, that sort of thing, right? But it's this other thing, which is like, I don't know what to call it, but it's like professionalism, I don't think is the right word. It's not like she's unprofessional. It's just like, it's like, when the PowerPoint and the slides don't look that great, right? And the presentation on them doesn't come through that compelling, confident, like, you didn't really like kill it, right? And I think that's all like just junior stuff. The speaking stuff is junior, I think. I don't know really how to like coach on that too much. I told her just re-listen to it, definitely work on, like, she says this thing a lot, like, and all those kinds of things, right? And she can't find the word for what she's like this, and all those kind of things, some people just say etc, right? Some people and such or whatnot, right? But things like that, and the ums and ahs. And I think that's all just, I don't know really how you coach that out. And this, I think, is really honestly where I'm struggling. Is I never received this kind of coaching, right? So I don't even have like a reference point personally to train her on. And I don't need to have been coached like on this to know how to help her on this, right? But it does, it would help, right, if I had been effectively coached on how to like build PowerPoints, or to present, or presentation skills and stuff. But I just never received it at no point in my career did I. And maybe that speaks honestly to like how shitty the managers in my life have been, right? I have never received any coaching whatsoever from any of my managers. Maybe a little bit of feedback, maybe a couple of times, like early days, especially on the sales side. They'd sit in on some calls and just give me some feedback at the end of the call, kind of thing. But I've never received any kind of formal training, coaching on like presentation, or things like this. It was all, I did have classes. I did take courses, like in high school. We had like speech and debate class, right? I think that taught me a lot, to be honest, the speech and debate class. If anyone knows, or listening to this, whoever had speech and debate LHS, that we had like a crazy, good teacher, and I think it did change a lot of us. That teacher, that class at LHS, he made us all better presenters than we may even realize, right? At a very formative time, freshman in high school. I feel like so many people went through that class, or at least were involved in speech and debate at LHS. But yeah, that's one thing, and that really was what turned me off on the other potential CSM candidate. Was the PowerPoint came through, I looked at it, said no. Like, I know there's a lot of analysis here. Once I dug in, I realized the analysis was all actually accurate, but I was like, this just doesn't look good. I do not want to make this kind of hire. I do not want to have to go back and say, clean up, like, fix it. This just doesn't look good. Like, yeah, it's like, whereas other CSM we have now, like, that was, I looked at the PowerPoint, I was like, yes, thank God, right? Because I liked her, every step of the way more than the other one anyways. And when the presentation came through, it just solidified it for me. Even though the analysis, just because she did the formula wrong, was wrong, right? Yeah, I was like, that's easy enough, but if I have to deal with fucking a CSM where I have to give feedback on something as tricky as it looks like shit, right? Anywho. And it didn't look like S's didn't look like shit. Honestly, she really did a good job. Okay. I know what the execs, she did a good job, but like, we need to do a better job, right? And not a good enough job that I'd feel good with her just doing it all on her own. And not because she fucked up in any way or floundered. She really didn't even flounder either, but the confidence. She's very junior, coming through as junior. You know, and it is what it is. She is junior. So what do you expect, sort of thing, right? The customer too kind of, I think, appreciates that as well. And I really want to make her great because I think she could be, and I think she's very coachable. And because I think all that, it's really on me to make it happen. Is why I'm talking about all this so much, is because this comes from a place of A, guilt, and B, um, guilt and sense of duty, right? Like, yeah, I think she could be great. Therefore, I have a duty, and then she's very coachable. And therefore, I have a duty to really coach her, and make her great, right? So, on me. Whereas the other one, I think, is fun. I just gotta teach her the ins and outs and all the functional stuff, and I think she'll fly right for us. Um, and that's what, she was hired to be. Like, she's more experienced CSM, more experienced just in general. I think she's the same age as me. She's 1 year younger. Playing experience, and very competent, and self-composed, and I just gotta make sure she understands the product, so puts her in a place of confidence, and I think she'll be good, right? I think that, yeah. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Enough about that. Not that it's neither here nor there, just enough about that. Yeah. What next? What next is transitioning these accounts, and then beginning to do the other things I want to, right? Now, what is that, right? What is that I want to do? And let's not even talk like work related, because there's plenty of other things work related I like to do that I'll get to. But what next for me, right? Outside of work. And what is this? What next, right? And for me, really, I just want this company to be successful. I want to see this through to a successful exit. And then from there, I just want to put myself in a position or then be in a position. I'm trying to put myself in a position for a successful exit, so that a year from now, 2 years from now, maybe at most 3 years from now, right? Hopefully, within the next 3 years, we can successfully exit, is what I'm saying, or thinking and feeling and working toward, right? And then from there, depending on how successful the exit is, right? What next, right? And for me, because actually T was asking me, like, do you plan on coming back, like, to America? We were like at the end of this, like, flow building session we were doing. We were just chit-chatting a little bit, and she's like, do you plan on coming back? I'm like, I don't know. Personally, I don't think so, right? I don't think I'm coming back, guys. I don't think I'm going back to America. Unless it's, to go back to the Bay Area, maybe to chase a paycheck, maybe. But do I even need to do that? No, not really. I'm in a good position here, like post this company, right? Like to be like a director of, Europe for an American tech company, right? Or VP of Europe. Have experience working in the Bay Area, and I'm, British citizen, and I've had experience working in Europe, and, I could easily parlay however this plays out into that kind of role out here. There's no need to go back for that. And in fact, maybe I've cut myself out like a good little opportunity for something like that. Whereas if I went back to the Bay Area, I think sure, maybe I could be a VP of like a startup again, right? But I'm not trying to work this hard ever again, guys. I'm serious. I'm just working this hard, so I never have to work this hard ever fucking again. Like, I'm not trying to go back to a Series A ever again. I don't think, guys. Like, I think unless I'm starting my own thing, sure, then maybe, right? But not for someone else ever again. This is it. I've done it twice. This is the one I'm kind of hanging my hat on and seeing through. And then, if I went back, yeah, maybe a Series B, could be a VP or a Series B. I think I could pull that off. Anything bigger than that, probably be taking a title cut, right? pay bump for sure, but title cut, right? Do I care to do that? I don't know. But really, I think the roundabout point I'm trying to get to is after this, I don't even know if I want to stay in tech. I think after this, if the X is successful enough, I'd love to just fucking take off, go around the world, either with my future wife or find my future wife, right? And then depending how much money I have in my pocket, maybe set up a boutique hotel in Turkey, right? Buy myself a boat and just take people on boat tours and give like history lessons about what I'm taking them on boat tours. I mean, this is my this is my pipe dream like retirement plan. But you know, so I love to just start a family business, to be honest. I want to just rather start something that I could pass on to, you know, my kids, or than anything. I mean, you know, whether they want to take on whatever that business may be is one thing, but I always thought it would have been awesome if there was just a family business I could have gone into early. And it was always a kind of depressing for me and my family. We're all such individuals that we really couldn't even help one another, right? And think in the sense that, you know, my dad, hardware engineer, he had no connections. He had nothing that he could do to really help me in my career. You know, he's old, semiconductors, old Silicon Valley, right? Hard chip designer, right? You know, the tech scene changed, you know, for my generation. You know, he didn't really have any connections, not much he could really do for me. Not that he did nothing for me, right? He did help me get that one gig, you know, internship I did for like 6 months in college. And that was cool. And I think that really did change me. I think that was my first like tech kind of exposure, and it made me realize, I think I could like enjoy this, right? But there was really not much he could do for me, not much he could do for my mom or my brother. My brother's in finance. My mom's like a legal clerk, billing and receiving for a law firm, right? She doesn't have a degree, and I think has done well for herself without one. But my brother's in finance. You know, my mom, dad, and my brother could really, dad and my mom could really do nothing for me or my brother. Nobody could do anything for anyone. I can't do anything to help my brother, right? I'm in tech, he's in finance. I don't know, nothing that I could do help him. Can't talk shop. You know, he's talking about things that I really don't understand probably if we even talked about them, right? You know, which we don't, right? And like none of us could help one another. All of us, so like we're such individuals to begin with, but on top of that, like even in our careers, there was no like synergy whatsoever. That's how individual we each are. And so be it, you know, it's okay, make your own way, make your own path. But I mean, I love to just start a little family business, even if it's like something me and my brother one time toyed with, you know, making mead, right? Which is made from honey, alcohol made from honey. And there's, you know, best honey and best bees in the world are from Turkey, right? Go Turkey, start a meadery. Now that'd be kind of cool in the sense that that would lead to actual product, right? Whereas like a hotel, like boutique hotel type family business, cool too, love to. Um, but something that could lead to an actual product has an extra like angle of like a greater potential, but b in a more manageable way, right? Oh, sure, I could start a boutique hotel, then start another boutique hotel, start a chain of boutique. Nah. But you could start like a little meadery and just like, you know, have a product, right, that you could ship, and that's easier to scale, sort of thing, right? I mean, that could lead to like something bigger, whereas a boutique hotel would be kind of confined to just that, to be quite frank. I'm not trying to start a fucking chain. But I would be down to, you know, start a business that has a product and, you know, working on like supply chain, right? You know, something, but either which way, right? Whether it's a little meadery or, you know, a hotel. And I'm not saying I'm committed to either. These are just like, you know, throwaway examples, but, you know, somewhere where originally the idea was, I always felt that if my family had a family business, and maybe this sounds counterintuitive because maybe other people would think like the exact opposite, but I think it might have kept our family together, right? Because I think my mom would be a great bookkeeper, right? Think of my brother, similar, great bookkeeper, right? But not just a great bookkeeper, right? But my mom, like, let's say we ran a hotel, right? I have between me, my dad, my mom, my brother, if we ran a boutique hotel, like, oh, like our unique strengths, I think would work so well to complement one another to run like the perfect boutique hotel. And I think having like kind of a family business for us all to like rally around would actually bring us together and make us work better. And I think we're all hard workers. We absolutely are, but we just don't really uh, get along, or not that we don't get along, but just never work together. You know, my family never worked together. And I mean that in like various layers of that, right? But like, I think if we actually work together, right, like it would have worked, could have worked, right? Always thought that. Um, I still think that, and I'll probably never know that, right? But I like to at least be able to do something like that for my own family, right? And I know when I was first like in college and incredibly depressed, and even coming out of college, I just felt so fucking lost. And the one wish I had, like all through college and even like for years coming out of college, was, you know, if there's anything I could do for my own kids, it would be to start a family business. Because at that time, I felt like, dude, I just wish we had like a little family business. I don't even care if it was a fucking, you know, smog test gas station. I don't even care if it was a fucking gas station, bro. If there's just some family business I could just get into to like anchor me, and you know, yes, sure, to fall back on almost as like a safety net, but also just to like, you know, get involved in. I mean, I was not a good student, right? But I think I'm a good worker. Of how, you know, and if there was a family business, is something I could have maybe been involved with even, you know, in younger years. And something that I think could have been like a springboard to whatever, or, you know, could have, even if it was like a gas station, or could have maybe made something of, and, you know, started, you know, bunch of gas stations. I don't know even how that works, but you know what I'm saying? Like, because honestly, I just kind of fell into tech because of the area I'm from, but I don't have like, I like the company I work for now, right? And what we do, but there were other tech companies I could give a shit less, right? What they fucking did, right? Like, whatever, man, you know, and like how much I invested into, you know, it's just for a paycheck, man. I have no passion for that fucking tech. This tech that we're doing here is cool. I like it, right? And I do. But there was so much others that I just did not, man. I would add more passion for having my own gas station, to be quite frank, is what I'm saying. So, and that lack of passion all those years working on those like kind of companies, I think of that to like, and maybe it was the age as well. It's got to do with the age also, I understand, and it's got to do with who I am and where my head was at, but it was all tied together. Just led to a lot of drugs, man. I was just like chasing you know, the chasing the experiences because I didn't have the passion, sort of thing. Also didn't have a girlfriend a lot of those times too, which led to me doing a lot of drugs. Yeah, I think if I had a girlfriend, yeah, like I think I would have done nearly as much drugs. Definitely would not done nearly as much drugs. How was drugs just done with a bunch of dudes, staying up all night? Like, yeah, so that's what I guess I'm working to, right? Working toward. I would just love to work toward like an exit that gives you enough money to do whatever I want. And what do I want to do? Well, initially, I would love to just kind of um, travel the world, right? I know that sounds so like lame, so like, you know, 22-year-old girl wanderlusty, right? White girl wanderlusty, but something I want to do definitely with my future wife, ideally, right? Like just her and I. Let's travel the world together, right? You know, around the world in whatever 80 days, or let's do it. Um, or if I don't have a, you know, girlfriend, whatever, do it solo and maybe find my wife, you know, somewhere around the world. Yeah. Around the world, you still can't find someone, bro. There's definitely something wrong with you. You know? Oh. And then coming off of that, right? Then ideally, I'll just start my own little thing. And when I say my own thing, I don't really mean tech related. Like could be maybe, but probably ideally not. You know, like I love to just start a little Bora Hotel. I'm gonna call it Bora Hotel, but like, start my own little hotel and have a little boat and be the captain of my little boat and take people on boat tours, and then maybe that's the retirement phase. I don't know, but why not sooner? It sounds like a wonderful life to me. Yeah. Anywho, with that said, I really don't have much to say today, right? Like, everything is really in flight work related, and work related will lead to like different thoughts and things to talk about. But how that all plays out next week, right? Next week's end of the quarter. We'll see what I have to say this time next week. Um, and with that said, don't have to draw these out, man. If I feel like I'm done, I'm done. Um, this is a weird one, not a good one, but hey, so be it. At least there's nothing crazy bad to report on this week. No more deaths, no more nothing really, right? And even the one thing like I led with, which is about kind of coaching, is more about me just dropping the ball on that personally, and just this is to remind myself, like, hey, come on, you said you want to be a good one, then go fucking coach, right? And this week I definitely first half definitely didn't, and for but this is just keeping myself accountable, actually, more so than anything. Latter half of the week, I definitely did, but for T in functional ways, just flow building, that's easy. It's the harder thing is really coaching on like presentation skills and stuff like that, right? Which, I've never, like I said, I've never received. Um, and I'm not even sure how to go about telling somebody to, like, you know, but, uh, but, but figure it out. And I've got a great person to figure it out with, like a great kind of, what's it, clay, right? Like she's good clay. She's good clay. It sounds very bad, but and then and I gotta just put myself in a position where I can transition these accounts, so there's no excuses not to do all the things that I want to do, that coaching kind of thing included. Um, and yeah, with that said, much love. Be happy. Do good. Love you, mom.